Hey dudes, what's up? Good morning. I missed you. How are you? Regardless of how you are, I'm glad that you were here today. Thank you for being here in whatever state that you are in. I was watching a thing and I was researching for another video, and this anyway had me thinking a lot about disability and consent. And so anyway, I wanted to talk about it and go over some myths and like uncommon facts or some things that some people do not know about autistic people. Oopsie poopsie goopsie. I know I said that I wouldn't be around for a while, but I never know what I'm doing. So, like, never listen to me ever. I don't know what I do ever, any of the time. Honestly, I should just keep my mouth shut, but then I feel like I want to tell you guys all the time, like, what's going on. But then I don't know what's going on, and I can't really commit to what's going on, I think. So, main reason why I took time off is something that I will tell you about at the very end of this video if you hang out that long. When it comes to any person and their sexuality, I think that it's important to feel comfortable with yourself and how you work and how your body works before anything else. I love the fall weather. You get all cozy, you get all warm under the blankets and stuff. Maybe you want to treat you or your partner with something that will help them explore that, which is why I partnered with Bessa today to give out free toys. Speaking of toys, I'm going to put them on screen, letting everyone know that, okay? You're watching right now, you're consenting to it, okay? They're really pretty, it's okay. They're really pretty. Look, and that's actually squeaky deaky. And that's actually one thing that I wanted to, that's one of the things that I like about them is look how cute these are. Oh, what is it? I don't know. What is it? Flying saucer? You know, like are you playing frisbee? They look like you want to hold them in your hand. What are they like? You know, I don't know. I love that Bessa toys come in discreet packaging because then you can take it anywhere, or you can like keep it on your side table. And not many people are gonna, you know, it doesn't look weird. And I like the colors. This is a Paige color. This is Paige pink. Actually, I think it's a little too warm for my skin tone. This little baby is called the Pebble. Ready, 3, 2, 1. Oh, already taking her out. She is ergonomically designed to fit the palm of your hand. Let me just ooh, ah. Suction and vibration, separate modes. No annoying patterns. And then what's going on with the Air Vibe Pro? Hold on to your horses. We got that dual stimulation going on. She's also waterproof and comes with a remote. Both are rechargeable using the case that they come in. So you put them back in the case and then you charge the case. And if you didn't know, Bessa is a by women company made for all things sexual wellness. So definitely go check them out. But also, it's Bessa's mission to empower everybody to embrace and explore and celebrate their sexuality. So we're giving away free vibrators and gift cards to everyone that signs up with the link below. Like if you go click the link below, enter, and everyone who enters will either get a free vibrator or a gift card for a vibrator. It's a win-win situation. Link is down below in the description, in the comments. Go check out Bessa. Thank you so much, Bessa, for sponsoring this video today. Pussy power. Pussy power. I really like alliteration, and so I'm like, oh, that's a good one. But like, I hate that word. But like vulva power just like doesn't hit the same. So talking more about autism and about consent, first of all, I just want to say to anyone who thinks that this is like too taboo of a topic or is like we shouldn't be talking about this, I implore you to consider the importance of sexual education to autistic people. The lack of it right now, like how poopy a lot of sexual education in general has been, but also how disabled people specifically and directly are targeted. Specifically like disabled people with like learning and intellectual and developmental differences are disproportionately targeted for sexual violence. And so I would argue, first of all, that no topic is too taboo to talk about if it is like for real existing and is for real like harming children. That's something that as adults is like our responsibility to talk about, I think, and hold our adults accountable and protect our children. And one way we do that is by like talking about things. That's, you know, actually like the bad guys don't want you to talk about things. So talking about things, you know, is a good idea. The autistic, you know, population, we are more likely to be vulnerable if, you know, an autistic person doesn't learn these things. Autistic people need to learn these things too, because maybe they weren't taught these things too. So no matter what, I think that, you know, sexual education and talking about consent is so important for everybody, but specifically autistic people. So we're going to go over some myths about autistic people. Debunking 6 myths about autism and sexuality/consent. Number 1. Autistic people don't have sexual feelings and or desires. First and foremost, let's all accept and acknowledge that asexual people exist. What does it mean to be asexual? Well, it can mean a few things, but basically like not being interested in having sex. Just not wanting to, have sex. While some autistic people are asexual, not everybody is. We have bodies that mature and get older and go through puberty and have hormones. Maybe it feels good, and maybe we find someone that we like and that we want to be close with. A lot of kids will be curious about their own bodies and like explore their own bodies and be curious about other people's bodies. And this is why also it's important to talk to kids and explain to them what's going on and talk about consent. The puberty years can be pretty difficult as, an autistic person experiencing all of those changes and all of those feelings. So just wanted to shout out to the families that are like experiencing that and having trouble. Every single family situation is different. You gotta do what's best for you. You gotta do what's best for your family. And you're doing a good job. Number 2, autistic people don't want relationships. A lot of autistic people struggle with making and keeping friends, and that's like due to the nature of the disorder, right? We are naturally kind of like, I don't know how else to say it. I always say like my brain's like very specific, and so I have a really hard time seeing other people's point of views and where they're coming from. Better now that I'm older, sorry. I think that it's more of like I have I'm not usually looking at other people's point of views. Like I'm usually very narrow-minded, as that's part of the thing. Also, most people aren't autistic, and so it can be really difficult to be an autistic person surrounded by mostly not autistic people and have friends and good relationships with those people. Most autistic people want relationships, whether that be like friends, family, if that is sexual or if that is romantic relationships, because there are people that are asexual and aromantic. Kind of relationships that every autistic person wants and that every person has capacity for and can handle and can like collaborate in changes, and it varies, and it's also going to change like day by day as well. Some autistic people are going to love to be around people all of the time. Some autistic people have a very small social battery and can only be around people once a month, My advice for autistic relationships, I've decided I'm not going to give advice for every single one of these things, now that you asked. The biggest thing is find other autistic people or like other neurodivergent people for sure. Are going to be the most likely to get you and understand you and vibe with you and not make fun of you and accommodate you and get along with you and understand you and just like know where you're at. Myth number 3. Autistic people shouldn't have children. Yeah, I heard this one a bit. I heard this one a bit too because people go like, you shouldn't keep having autistic people, right? Like disabled people shouldn't have kids because then they're just like passing on their disability. So that's just, that's just like a deep feeling of like, we should not have disabled people on this earth. We want to not have disabled people on this earth. But really, I want to present to everybody here the concept that actually disability is and always has been and always will be, whether you like it or not, it is a natural part of society. Not only is my neurotype a natural part of the neurodiversity of society and what happens to people, and that goes for a lot of people's nervous systems, that goes for a lot of people's brains, that goes for how a lot of people internally function. They're just like born differently. But also, disability happens over time. Not only does like every old person, if you are lucky enough to get old, you're likely to get physically disabled or become even like cognitively disabled if you get old. But besides that, accidents happen. Things happen, life happens, people become disabled all the time, at all ages, at any second, at any day you could become disabled. And I could go into a big rant, but that's not what this is about anyway. But that's just anyone that wants to be like, why would we want more autistic people? Why would you? Because you're not gonna not, okay? Because you're not gonna not, and we need to accept, accommodate, learn, grow. Now, some people in general just shouldn't have children, but apparently, in my heart of hearts since I was a kid, I'm like, I wish that you had to do school to be a parent. I wish that you had to like prove that you knew how to be a parent. You had to learn about kids and childhood development. I wish, because I've done so much like studying about children because I want to be a really good parent. And some people just shouldn't have kids. But apparently, if you think about, but apparently, it's not right to try to think about controlling who gets to and who doesn't get to have kids, because that's not fair. what sucks. Like, I don't want to do it based off anyone's situation. I want to know the content of their character, you know? But you can't sterilize people. That's not, you know, you can't just force people to not. Everyone has reproductive rights. Which makes me angry, which makes me angry, which makes me angry, which makes me angry, which makes me angry because, I'm sorry, maybe a little trigger warning right now for people. I'm just going to talk about people that shouldn't have children, and I'm going to say the P word. But how many pedophiles have children? All of them. And that pisses me off, you know? You know how easy it is to have a child? Like, it's literally, like, one of the easiest things. So sorry to anyone who's having trouble conceiving. A lot of people have trouble conceiving. But to some people, sometimes it's like, oh, why did it happen to you? But anyway, I guess anyone can have children. But there's no reason why an autistic person shouldn't have children just because they're autistic, you know? If you're thinking, like, well, they shouldn't pass on their genes. I disagree with you. Okay, and skip over that because I just talked about that. If you're saying, like, well, autistic people can't raise children, you're wrong, because autistic people have been raising autistic children, and I don't know if autistic people have been raising neurotypical children, to be honest, but we've been raising neurodiverse children, like, for life. That's, you know, that's why we still have autistic people to this day. It's been happening, so you know, it's definitely possible, and it will continue. Now, I will say that there definitely can be instances where autistic people shouldn't be parents. Like, let's say if autistic people that cannot consent to, like, having, like, a sexual relationship with somebody else, you know, and are, like, not able to, like, take care of themselves, shouldn't be tasked with taking care of another human person, you know, if that's not gonna work. If their autism is, like, preventing them from doing parent things, then that makes sense. But also, like, that's few situations where someone gets to decide that other than the individual themselves. But those, obviously, I think we can think about the very nuances of those situations. I would say also, and just to, like, kind of, like, remind autistic people too, because we're taught so little about parenting and about children and development and how parenting is, just want to, like, bring it up so, like, autistic people know. Autistic people, especially with uteruses, like, I know myself, ever since I was little, never wanted to be pregnant. And I'm like, oh, I hope that I do when I'm older, because I've always wanted to, like, have a kid. And I'm 24, and I'm like, there's no way I could be pregnant. There's no way with my sensory issues. Oh my, like, no way. Absolutely not. And also, a baby, oh, I don't know if I could do that, you know? I don't know. Would it be really cool to replicate, like, my genes? Yeah, but then I feel like a selfish, like, I feel my PDA has, like, a weird reaction to doing that, you know? I feel, like, selfish for doing that. So I'm totally down to, like, adopt, like, a kid. I would love to adopt, like, a kid, you know? Like, that would be, like a 4-year-old. That'd be so cool, you know? And I think that when I'm older, I want to adopt, like, teenagers, you know? And because I think I'm a pretty good parent. Like, I'm not a parent. I did parent my brother, you know, and I have been a teacher for life. I think, like, teaching little kids is, like, something that I'm supposed to do. It's awesome. But, like, sensorily, there are definitely some things that, like, not vibe. Like, sensorily, babies, so difficult. Love them, but for, like, 5 minutes. And so I actually think it's ideal if I don't do that. And possible. And actually beneficial in some cases, you know? Like, that's not too bad. Adopting, like, a pre-made kid, gonna help that kid. I think that's so cool. Myth number 4, my favorite number. Autistic people don't need sexual education. What do you think? I kind of have been saying this the whole time. Is this what I've been saying the whole time? Autistic people may even need more sexual education. And why do I say that? Because with any kind of relationships, like, when talking about the fact that we even have, like, a slightest little bit of sexual education shows that there is, yes, some interest in parasocial relationships. Am I using that word correctly? I don't know. I'm not going to look it up right now. But shows that, like, okay, we're getting into talking about interacting with each other safely, because that's something that's just, like, assumed that everyone learns at home. And no, Mary, no, it's not a lot of us are raising ourselves out here. So there's a lot to sex that I know I wasn't taught sexual education, but there's a lot that about, like, social cues that we don't have a hard time getting a lot of the time, and feelings and navigating another person's feelings and dealing with like rejection and the social rules and, you know, like what is normal, what's not normal, and most importantly, what's healthy and what's not healthy. We're more likely to be in not good relationships. We're more likely to be in places that are hurtful for many reasons, and maybe I'll make a whole video about that. I've kind of made a lot of like videos kind of about that. I think like most of my content these days is like autism and trauma and just like trauma, which stick around to the end of the video if you want to hear about my surprise. That's something to do with trauma. Because we're more likely to be in not good relationships, we should definitely, for sure, I think, told about the signs of abuse and healthy relationships and what is a healthy sexual partner and what is consent and how does one consent and how do you make sure the other person is consenting, so you know, when it comes to those situations. Because also, you get autistic, right? How do you know if someone wants to? You have to like read their cues or whatever. Like, you gotta learn those things and know about those things to keep everybody safe. But there are times when I see people kind of skip over the parts of when it comes to like in how to interact with other people effectively and, you know, collaboratively is missed a lot when it comes to sometimes when I see that missed with some like autistic kids, and autistic kids are like allowed to like push others' boundaries, and it's almost like, you know, like, oh, it's okay, like they're, you know, because they're autistic, they don't get I mean, and some people, sometimes children can have a more difficult time than others with like understanding that. I'm not saying like following social rules or anything, but I do mean like having boundaries and respecting someone else's boundaries. How to know what boundaries are, what people's boundaries usually are, kind of thing like that. You know, like what, and by like boundary, I just mean like if you want this person to like you and to be there, here's how you treat them, and how you treat them is how you would want someone else to treat you most likely, right? And it makes sense, like if you go over the boundary, it makes sense that they might not like you, or it makes sense that they might not want to be around you. And so then it kind of like understanding like more like the how that works. I also think that we should be super made aware of what it is, what it's like, how it feels to have a child, to go through pregnancy, to go through birth, to like raise a baby, like all of the things that you have to do, what it takes to like all of the steps, all of the whatever. I think that everybody should in general, and I'm sick of them splitting up like the guys and the girls and learning two different things. Like, you should be learning the same things. Yes. Also, I think it'd be so dope if like it was mandatory to take parenting classes and like child development classes. But anyway, I think that would be so helpful to like to slim out. That'd be helpful to like get rid of people that like are like, oh man, I don't want to do that, and then they don't have kids and then like regret it later. Because there are people that have kids and regret it. There are people, that just have kids because like they thought that's what, you're supposed to do. That's what life is. There are, some people that just are not good parents and didn't want to be parents and shouldn't be parents. And I think if everyone learned more about being parents, less people would want to be parents, and the people that would want to be parents would be more informed in how to be better parents, and they probably want to, I don't know, maybe even more. And like, if people don't want to be parents, that's more than okay. That's actually awesome. Like, cool, because we could use less people. So if some people are like, I just won't have kids, like, yeah, vibe, yeah, fucking swim. Because autistic people are more likely to have autistic children. If you have like a dysregulated autistic child, first of all, if you have a dysregulated child, that child cannot become regulated if the adult is dysregulated. Dysregulation is contagious, and you need to be regulated to regulate a child. Now, when an autistic child is dysregulated, oftentimes that dysregulation, whatever it looks like, can dysregulate and the caregiver, and oftentimes, especially if this is chronic, which it likely is, if the caregiver is struggling, doesn't have help, and doesn't really know what to do, and has their own issues going on as well, is in autistic burnout, then it's like, I'm shut down. I also am struggling. And then we need strategies there too. And then we've got two autistic people struggling. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people can't get that. A lot of people don't have that. And then it's a struggle bus for both parties. It's not ideal. And I wish that could be a thing, you know, we could learn more about that. I wish everyone could learn more about emotional regulation. Stick around to the end of the video so that we could help autistic kids better. Myth number 5. Autistic people are confused when they are gay or bi or trans, and they're likely just getting it from someone else and copying them. Nay, we actually can make our own decisions. At least, you know, I'm not talking for everybody can make every single decision, but like, if an autistic person is letting you know these things, they can make their own decisions. And actually, we are more likely to be gay / bi / trans / queer. It's true. If you're autistic, it's more likely. We have like a pretty good sized population. And I think that, you know, partially, in fact, due to how we view social constructs and how we view humans and bodies and relationships. Like, very interesting. Also, consider that someone's life isn't any of your business. You should encourage people to explore who they really are and find wherever they are happiest. And if they aren't gay or if they aren't trans, like if they are allowed to explore freely, then they will. And if they don't feel like they belong there, then they'll find that out pretty quickly. And they'll go, okay, cool, well, it's not that, so something else, you know? Or they go there and they go into wherever they feel best and they're so happy. Then why would you want them to be not happy, you know? Just like encourage people to be the best version of themselves and to be where they are happiest and where they are not causing harm and where they are not harming themselves and where they feel like they are, you know, doing their best, where they feel their best. Encourage that. And I also want to suggest one thing. If you're ever just like, well, you know, like it's just a phase or this part's just a phase, or to anybody who's thinking anything is a phase, okay? Any look of yours, any hairstyle, any hobby, any whatever, and you're like, well, I don't want to, why waste time on it a little bit if I'm not going to spend forever time on it in the long term? Everything is a phase. Everything is a phase. Life, like, you continue to change. Your life continues to change. So what if it's a phase? What in your life has not been a phase, you know? Like, and some things come back and some things go and some things stay forever. Like, whatever. Everything changes all the time. And one day you're going to die and then you're just going to be a phase, you know? So do whatever the frig you want. It's going to enrich you at the moment. At the moment when you do it, it's going to give you things. So enjoy it. Make whatever is happening in the moment the most important thing. Okay, I'm just rambling. Okay, last but not least, myth number 6. Autistic people can't have kids. They don't need contraception. For real, just letting y'all know. No, definitely. If we have, you know, like the parts that, and they're operating, you know, how the parts typically would in regard to reproduction, then why not? You know, then we are definitely able to do that. Now, we could have issues, especially people with like uteruses, with things like PCOS and endometriosis. They're more common with autistic people. And 2, with people with uteruses, having periods and being autistic is so difficult. Like, sensory wise, it's just, like, you gotta, it's not fun. I think the most widely beloved period option, which is my period option, is like the period underwear. They're the most comfortable and the most discreet, the easiest. Yeah. So there you go. Those are 6 myths about autism and sexuality / consent. Now, before you go, I'm just going to give you some autism facts. Some autistic people have challenges navigating sexual intimacy due to sensory issues. A lot of different senses going on there. Some autistic people are asexual and aromantic, or one or the other, meaning like maybe they want sexual connection but not romantic connection, or vice versa. Autistic people are more likely to be LGBTQ, said that. Some autistic people will never have sex. And sex isn't everything. Like, sex, I mean, ask people who are asexual. Like, it's just a thing that happens sometimes. Some autistic people make sex their job. All autistic people, and all people in general, should be taught sexual education in school that includes consent and boundaries and being able to say no, and how you feel, how you know when you feel like you want to do that. I think is important for everybody, especially autistic people. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Appreciate it if you click the like button on this video. I also appreciate if you subscribe. That's really nice and stuff. I'm going to hold these up one more time while I say thank you, Bessa, for sponsoring today's video. I really appreciate it. And now you stuck around to the end of the video. Oh, I also wrote this book. Now you stuck around to the end of the video. I told you that I had a little surprise or something I wanted to say. I've been working for the last, frickin' probably 6 months on something, and I released it. I finally did. What is that thing? I'll make a whole other video about it. I'm probably going to talk about it for the end of time, to be honest. I made a course online that's all about unmasking and how to unmask. It's called Unmasking Your Authenticity. To me, this course is for the anxious 15-year-old that just got diagnosed, who didn't know who she was and completely dissociated from life because I felt like I was chronically masking, and so I had no idea who I was, what I really felt, what I really felt, how would I really feel things, and I was so anxious and I just wanted to end it, and I didn't have any friends and I didn't feel like a person. This is for people who had parents or caregivers who didn't give them the space to develop to be who they really were, and so they had to focus on survival a lot in childhood and are struggling to be their own person, their own self. The course is $15 and it's in the link below. It's like 5 hours worth of content. It's video modules with subtitles, and it's audio video. A written version will come out soon. The course helps you a lot with like accessing your emotions, dealing with trauma, seeing where trauma is and where it shows up, and kind of figuring it out. Also just helping you find who you really are, because that shit is freaking hard. I know for real how hard it is. It's taken me 9 years, and I'm really glad that I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this. I think it's gonna be really helpful to a lot of people. So it's on my website. It's down below in the bio. It's on my link tree. You know, she's everywhere, and it's $15. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and thank you for being here. Thank you for Bessa for sponsoring and joining, and I'll see you guys later. I'll see you when I see you. So long, goodbye. This is the end of the video song. This video's to tell you the video's done. If you're hearing this, it's because the video's done. Go watch another one. Boop boop. Have a good day. Love you so much. Bye.